And there it is, guys. There it is. Polygon is done. Well, we don't know. They might keep the brand around. Polygon has been sold to Valnet, and apparently everyone is getting fired, and it's being reported by Kotaku. So this is like 2016 video game siteception going on here. We're going to talk about this. I haven't reacted to it yet because I just heard the news. We actually didn't have power for 2 days here in the Pittsburgh area. So if you're in Pittsburgh, good luck. Some people are apparently not going to get power for the next 5 to 7 days, but we were fortunate that we got ours back on last night. So I'm trying to run to catch up with everything going on. And this is huge. And this is exactly what we said was going to happen. That all these video game websites, because the ad revenue is no longer there, that they were going to implode. And a lot of them were going to get scooped up by a company like Valnet. We'll talk a little bit about Valnet, because Valnet is under scrutiny now. There was a piece written on them by The Wrap, and I swear to God, all we did was cover it. All we did was talk about the article on The Wrap. We didn't report anything outside of what they were reporting, and we just reacted to it and rolled our own opinions into it. And like a month ago, we never mentioned it because I didn't want to, play the victim card or whatever, but like a month ago, they actually threatened us with legal action for simply covering The Wrap's article. It was a big expose on the owners of Valnet, but we're going to talk about Valnet because they basically have purchased like 95% of the geek internet. And now they own Polygon too. And I think a lot of these brands are going to get collapsed into each other. It's going to be wild. We're only going to have a couple of players left, I think, by the end of the year. Because Gamers Group is apparently laying people off now too. Lots of people getting laid off at Gamers Group. They'll probably wind up selling the Valnet too. If Valnet's the only company out there that has any money to buy any of these websites, and they're going to get them at fire sale prices because they're not worth anything. Most of them are not generating any meaningful revenue because we know that Google shut the traffic off. So let's, wow, this is a big one. Let's talk about this. Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Speaking of pop culture news, views, and rants, we're going to still keep our website up because we don't need ad revenue to keep it going. It's news.clownfishtv.com. Check it out. Get updated when we post new videos. We got some other content over there you're not going to find on YouTube. So this is, Kotaku reporting the death of Polygon. Polygon sold to Valnet and hit with mass layoffs. Okay, one of the biggest gaming sites around was just blown up. Video game website Polygon has been sold to Click Farm powerhouse Valnet, and much of its masthead has been laid off. Click Farm powerhouse, are you allowed to say that? Are you allowed to say that without getting a lawyer thrown at you? Because that's what happened to us. We just said, yeah, they just make clickbait. And they're like, we're going to sue you for defamation, Clownfish. The sale was subsequently announced in a press release. Multiple staff members have posted online about losing their jobs or about colleagues now being out of work. I'm no longer with Polygon. If you're hiring, please considering the many talented writers and editors now in the market. Said, wow, this is the co-founder. Chris Plant. Every one of them deserves a spot in your staff. Good luck with that. No, what's going to happen going forward is you're going to have to run your own shit. Is what's going to happen. You're going to have your own website, your own podcast, your own YouTube channel. You're not going to be able to just ride off of somebody else's. That is the new reality. If you want to be a video game journalist, then you're going to have to get good at running your own stuff. Chris Plant says, I won't be talking more about the sale because I wasn't involved. I'm going to hang out with my kid, taking wins where I can. So he probably sold to, let's see, was it Geo Media own this one? I can't keep track of who owns what. Vox Media. Okay, so he probably sold out to them years ago. He probably got his check and they kept him on as the ESC. So he's probably not seeing a dime from this. The sale was confirmed in a press release, which did not mention the layoffs. The price of the deal was not disclosed. Sources tell Kotaku deputy editor Maddie Myers and game editor Zoe Hanna are among those that remain at Polygon. So they're probably just going to keep a skeleton crew. That's like we talked about last week. The Mary Sue, it seems like Rachel Leishman is the only person left over there. It basically becomes a personal blog at that point. Vox Media did not respond to a request for comment. Well, they're hemorrhaging cash too, Vox Media. I'll say more later, but I no longer have a job. Said Nicole Carpenter, I'm looking for work, as are so many of my amazing colleagues. Nicole, no offense intended, but you're going to have to go do your own thing. If you guys want to continue to be video game journalists, you're going to have to do your own thing, and gamers will decide if they want to support your efforts or not. Go to news.clownfishtv.com. News.clownfishtv.com. I have lots of ideas, things I'd like to write. I'm really in shock. Again, you got to do it yourself. I had a great time working at Polygon, said senior writer Michael McWhorter. Please let me know if you have any cool job openings not in this industry anymore. You're going to have to make it on your own. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, they mentioned it wasn't just us. They mentioned the rap article. And again, all we did was talk about the rap article, and we got a threatening letter from their legal team saying we possibly could be opening ourselves up to possible legal action from a company in Canada, and like less than 5% of our audience is in Canada. So good luck with that. I'm just saying. They said, founded in 2012 under Vox, the site quickly established itself as one of the premier outlets for original reviews, reporting, and cultural analysis in the world of gaming. Polygon's coverage of video games, movies, TV, comics, and board games are some of the best around. Some of their stuff isn't terrible. I'm going to be honest. Some of it is not terrible. They just hired a bunch of people that wanted to use the platform for activism. And that is pretty much the undoing of most of these websites. Like, I said, if you go back to Electronic Gaming Monthly, they never talked about politics. They're just like, hey, here's the new handheld system coming out. Here are the specs. Here's an interview with the guy who made that game you like. And now it's like, there are too many guys working in games. And this is why it's a problem. Yeah. It's all ending. I told you guys, this was going to be the year. This was going to be the year that all this stuff just came tumbling down. It's all tumbling down. Valnet is based in Montreal and operates Screen Rant, Game Rant, Comic Book Resources, and other mass aggregators. That is exactly what they are. They are aggregators of clickbait written by people that are getting paid, some of them like $3 an article, as I understand it, $3 to $5 an article. And it's all about, just churning out content. The problem is it's not going to work for much longer because Google's not sending traffic to these websites like they used to. Google wants you on their search page, and they're going to cite quality sources like the New York Times or whatever. The company is run by Hassan Youssef, who got a start in digital media with porn. Yes, he did. The addition of Polygon not only strengthens our editorial muscle, but also amplifies our ability to deliver unmatched value to both audiences and advertisers. In my opinion, they are looking to sell. Valnet's looking to sell to get the hell out because this whole thing is imploding. So they're going to basically gobble up every website they can between now and whatever the future plans are for Valnet. Because I'm telling you, there is no future in being a pop culture clickbait farm. It's over. It's been over. It's just we had a long tail on it. I guarantee you their revenue has taken a massive, massive hit in the last couple months because I talked to other site owners, owners of independent sites. They're not part of Valnet. Some of them have a huge issue with Valnet because Valnet, basically, if you don't play ball with them, they will try and push you out, right? That's my understanding. And given that threat that we got from them, I'm like, yeah, I can totally believe it. I can totally believe it that they would behave like that. But they're running out of steam. They're running out of money. And I think the reason they were flipping out at the rap article was because it could potentially impact a sale. I think they wanted, again, just my opinion. I'm observing some signs, and I think they're trying to gobble up as much of the nerd internet as they can and then bundle it up and sell it off to somebody because there is no future in it, in my opinion. In a report earlier this year by The Wrap, many former contributors accused Valnet's current media holdings of being exploitive content mills. Wow. So they can say it. Are they going to get sued? It doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter, does it? So Grum's put it up here. Polygon is sold off. They fired almost everyone between market forces and epic chud wins. Last year, gaming journalism is gone. It is. Zach, welcome home. Kick me. I gotta like that. I'm gonna like that one. They love Thunderbolts. John Delrose says, wow, mainstream media is collapsing at a rate that's really out of control. Valnet's about the most evil company of them all. You're allowed to say that, John. They're scooping up these sites on the cheap. They have a deal with Google to be pushed to the top of the search algorithms. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. And if you ask anyone who is in this space who has tried to keep their independent voice out there, you will know it's an uphill battle. So yeah, pretty much everybody got laid off. So interesting. Interesting news there. It's what are we going to bitch about? What are we going to bitch about when all these sites implode, right? I think what we're going to have, again, post gaming website, is we're just going to have enthusiasts who talk about this stuff because they love this stuff. I think we're going to have social media personalities. I think we're going to have streamers and podcasters. Basically what has been going on the last couple of years, right? And these sites are dinosaurs. These corporate-owned nerd sites, nerd crew websites are relics from another time. Again, some of these people will be fine. I mean, I will give them props over Aftermath. I might not agree with them on everything, but at least those guys went out and they started their own website, right? At least they went out and started their own website. There was one writer at Comic Book Resources that had a major hate boner for us, and he went out and started his own YouTube channel. I guess he's doing okay. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to have to do that. But a lot of these people don't have the charisma. They're not likable. They're not going to get very far. And they can only function in this space when they're given a seat that's already been warmed for them, when they're given a position that somebody else built, right? So there's a huge difference between a lot of the journalists who just took a job at a company, a corporate journalism job, versus those who just did the work. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm not saying there are bad writers at every corporate news website. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there are bad online personalities at some of these websites. What I'm saying is I have a hell of a lot more respect for somebody that actually did the work and actually built it themselves. And that's how nerd media, geek news, that's how it started originally. It started with people who are web savvy building their own websites and talking about the things that they liked, that they're passionate about, or airing their grievances or whatever outside of the mainstream. And then when geek became chic, all these companies rushed in to gobble up the geek websites. And it was either companies like Valnet, or it was, studios, Hollywood studios. They bought Nerdist. You get to a certain size and you would get an offer. That was your cash out. Now, apparently it's not that much money though, because I know the Jonah Weiland, I think, was the one who owned Comic Book Resources. He wound up working at DC Comics. I'm like, well, it couldn't have been like a life-altering amount of money that he sold CBR for, because he wouldn't be working a day job at DC if that were the case. And then he got laid off from DC too. But all this stuff is ending, and I talked about that on the Clownfish Minus podcast. It's all ending. It's all ending at once. And all it took was for the money to run out, because it was all propped up artificially. And a lot of gamers, they've just moved on. They're just like, yeah, we're done. This is not what we want. We're going to go watch, like Zach was in the comments, we'll go watch Asmongold or something to get our news from there, from, thankfully Clownfish TV. We'll get our news from there. And do we get things right all the time? No. Do people like us unilaterally across the board? No. But that's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to like us. You don't have to watch us. If you don't like us, you don't have to watch us. But the thing is that you've got more honest opinions out there, right? The nerd crew is done. It's over. It's like no more consuming product. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to have a video game news site when like your job was basically to suck off AAA gaming, and that whole scene is imploded too. What are you going to talk about? Like all your friends at Sweet Baby Inc. working on the new AAA game that's not going to happen? Are you going to talk about old games, retro games? You know anything about old games or retro games? You play games? Or anything about the history of gaming? Are you going to talk to maybe some legends in the video game industry? No, because a lot of those people you've attacked them, and you've tried to destroy their careers over the years. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying a lot of these gaming journos, they've driven people out of the industry. It could be argued they've driven people to more extreme measures as well. you know, but it's over. It's, yeah, this is it. This is the game over, guys. It's Kotaku's next. I can guarantee. I think what's going to happen is Valnet's going to buy up what they can buy up. We're going to have one or two video game brands left. IGN will probably be fine. They're the big, you know, the 800-pound gorilla. And we'll have a couple of websites that have game guides and stuff like that, and they do video. And all the other ones are going to die. And then we've got the independent voices out there. So again, news.clownshishtv.com, news.clownshishtv.com. We're going to try to build up over there. Not going to make much money at it. I know that. I'm very well aware of it. But, you know, I figure if we're not going to get paid anyway, we might as well say what the hell we want to say, right? So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.